Greetings and welcome to an episode of Pop's Collection. I'm Ron Tweedy. Joining me is Pops, and today we're going to be talking about Moon Knight, Episode 3, The Friendly Type.
The Friendly Type, and I really didn't think who they were talking about in the beginning of this, of course.
Right.
But another interesting episode somewhat, but again, we didn't get a lot, I don't think, in this particular episode. And sadly, I don't think we got enough of Mark, as your previous thought what might have been that we would have got more of Mark Spector in this episode.
Right.
I don't know if you could really say that we did. How do you feel? I think it was kind of like almost an even thing. No, you think more of Mark?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, it was kind of interesting. We left off in the last episode that Harrow got the scarab.
Right.
So we kind of start this episode off with Harrow with his followers in the desert, and they find Amit's tomb.
Yep, that's right.
So that's kind of, I guess, the beginning of the story plot for this.
Well, they didn't find Amit's tomb at this point. They're looking for it, and they meet up. There's a council of all of the avatars there, but they're still on the hunt for Amit's tomb. They have not found it yet because the whole MacGuffin this time was looking for the sarcophagus that had the location to it. So they did not find the tomb yet.
Okay, well then, what was it that I thought that the scarab kind of had something that was pointing down, and they said we found it? You remember that? He was holding on to the scarab. It was floating in the air, and then they came to a spot and it like pointed downwards. Do you remember that? It was in the beginning.
Yeah, but it's not,
not the tomb itself.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I would agree with that, but I know they got all excited about that,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was kind of weird there because Mark was trying to find out where Harrow, where they were, and he was fighting with some people,
yeah,
that were probably his followers, and he blacked out. And also Stephen blacked out.
Right. Yeah, there was
so
no.
Is there another person now that we're not knowing about yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of interesting, and I thought it was kind of, he had Stephen's reflections in anything that was mirror-like or shiny, and he was kind of holding Mark accountable, or like, no, you can't do that, you can't kill this guy, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he would wind up taking over. So yes, and like you mentioned, I think it was a last-ditch effort by Khonshu to try and find Harrow by getting the council of the other lowercase g gods,
right?
Which we did meet another new god, Hathor,
right?
Which I don't know if you know her history, but she's the mother of Horus and Ra.
Okay.
So the sun god and the sky god, and she likes the moon god. So I don't know, if there's something going on there or whatever, but I thought it was interesting that she tells him about the sarcophagus,
right?
That somehow has that list.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we find the friendly type guy.
Yeah.
Which is Anton.
Sure.
Morgott, or Mogart, I'm sorry. So I don't know, that was a little bit of a weird situation there.
Yeah.
And also when Khonshu got all the gods together
Yeah.
and they summoned Harrow,
Hmm.
and he says, "Well, no, I'm just kind of hanging out and everything." Like, really, you're just going to take his word?
Yep.
You know, I'm
Well,
like,
Khonshu has I think, a reputation among the other gods, and so I think that's part of it. Is that like he kind of plays by his own rules, and so there's already a distrust of him. So that's part of it, and so it makes it kind of difficult for him to prove a case against Harrow and Amit trying to look for Amit's tomb. So
right. And I'm just maybe also because he is a former avatar for Khonshu.
hmm yep,
Maybe so they, and he does shed some uh, distrust among the other gods by saying that Mark is a troubled person.
right, which is true.
Yes. So, excuse me, I got something in my throat. um, is Mark the troubled one, or is Stephen the troubled one, or are they both troubled?
It's the same person. So
Well, yeah, okay. So I guess that's it too then. We do find also he says something uh, when they meet up with the friendly type guy. He has the sarcophagus,
yep,
and Mark asks to have a few moments in there.
right,
And he's actually looking at a reflection of
yep,
Stephen, and Stephen is kind of telling him how to find the map or what have you.
right.
And they kind of don't like him messing with that.
No, well, of course not. I mean, it's a priceless artifact.
Right. And yet, when his people, Anton's people, come in there, all of a sudden Harrow shows up and he basically just destroys it,
Yep.
you know, and they're okay with that. They're going to then fight with Mark and Layla and let Harrow go.
Well, I think the assumption is that they kind of brought that trouble with them when they came, and there was a passing reference that Layla made to Madripoor, which is the same location where Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings, there was a big scene there. So obviously
Yes.
there was an allusion to that.
Yeah. So that was maybe the tie-in
Mm-hmm.
to the MCU.
Can be.
I think.
There's
Yeah.
a theory going around that this is not taking place in the normal MCU. It's an alternate universe, and it's going to get pulled in with the multiverse. But I don't know. Who knows?
Well, that is a theory.
The when they talked about mass murderers or whatever, there was no mention of Thanos, which that's a pretty clear big omission if that was the case.
True. True. Right. We did not get any of that. So I don't know. I'm still not totally with it, as far as following the story that much. I think they're giving us little snippets here and there, but
Yeah.
not enough to make it cohesive yet.
Right.
We then, once we get out to the desert, after the fact that the sarcophagus is destroyed, Stephen takes pieces of the cloth to when they get out to the desert, it forms a star.
Right.
And we find that it's supposed to represent some star formation, constellation.
Right.
And Khonshu shares with him that, oh yeah, I know it, but that was 2,000 years ago. So then we get this special effect with Khonshu and Stephen, I'm guessing, at that time.
Yeah.
Working together to make the skies turn back 2,000 years.
Yeah, that was a cool visualization for the film, the TV show, that showing that, going back in time. And, obviously the consequences of that were pretty dire, the fact that Khonshu.
For Khonshu.
Yeah. So.
And so we are in a position now that we know Khonshu is in a tomb somewhere,
Right.
with the council has placed him
Yeah.
in a figurine,
Right.
and it's like, I guess it's like a prison.
Yeah.
And Harrow asks if he can have a few minutes alone with him. I
Right.
thought for sure he was going to destroy that, but maybe
Well,
it's not possible that he can. I don't
or
know.
if he destroys it, Khonshu gets set free. Right.
Maybe that's a possibility. True. But we kind of, now it seems to us through this, all this that we've gone through, that Harrow is going to have free reign to find Amit's tomb now, I think.
Right.
And we really don't know what's going to happen because Stephen and Mark, their body is laying in the desert unconscious. So we really don't know. Is he still going to be an avatar for Khonshu, or
Well, I would think
is he
not.
able to going to be Moon Knight, or
No, I don't
no?
think
You don't
I don't
think
think
so?
that's any. I think that the power's gone now, and so the idea was Khonshu's going to do this, but have Mark find him and set him free. That was the idea. So
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens in the next episode. But
yeah,
I do have to say that your mom's basically disinterested. So I'll be watching it by myself from now on.
yeah.
Sadly, but
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, I don't find it all that compelling either.
compelling. No.
Yeah, I mean, Piper's into it, my daughter.
Yeah.
But
Is she really?
yeah,
But does she understand it? Probably
no,
not, right?
no, not really. But she learned about Egypt in school, and so she's interested in that, and that's pretty much the reason why she's into it, I think.
Do you think that this Moon Knight might have been better served as maybe a movie? Or do you think that it would have been even worse?
Yeah, I don't think a movie would have been good.
Because
Unless,
I mean, the character development takes a long time in this story.
well, unless they decided to not see. I guess you have the original vision of Moon Knight being just this werewolf hunter, as opposed to this weird guy with IDD and stuff like that.
Right.
But or DID, I think it is. Yeah.
It did. Yeah, it
Yeah.
did.
So to me, I definitely think that you need more time to keep track of all of that. So a movie probably wouldn't have been a good thing, but I don't know. It's not
So far, it's not that compelling, like you say.
yeah.
And I wonder if we'll get the werewolf hunter
No,
in this.
no.
Probably
There'll be
not.
none of that. There'll be none of that unless they decide to start introducing those supernatural characters, because there is just like, I know there's talk about doing a Blade something with Blade, and so introducing Blade as a vampire, half vampire, vampire hunter, would make sense to throw werewolves in the mix as well if you wanted to go down that route. But I don't know. To me, I don't know. That seems really, really far afield of what they were going with the
In this particular storyline.
yeah. So,
But if it was successful, it turns out, and they're able to glue all the pieces together by the time we get to the end of episode 6,
yeah,
it might be compelling enough to get a second season. I don't know.
I doubt it.
I haven't even looked into that, but
Yeah.
So far you can't turn your eyes away. You can't blink, or you're going to miss something that might be important. We were in a situation, Mom and I, where we were watching it, and they would say something, but not very loud, and I'd have to go back to see, just so we could hear what they said. Because it could have been part of something that we needed to know,
Right.
and most
Yeah.
of the time it turned out not to be, so
Yeah.
so far, I don't know. It's not been really good for me.
Yeah.
So, but I guess we'll see what happens. The only thing that it has been okay is that we've had short episodes. Yeah, because I mean, really, technically, there's not a whole lot we can say about it.
Right.
We pretty much went through the whole story
Yep.
in 10, 15 minutes, something like that,
Right.
So, I mean, really. Now, we do know that the next episode is called TBA.
Yes.
So,
Right.
just like the third episode was. So,
Yeah.
I
Right.
guess we will see what happens with that next week.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. Other than that, I have nothing else to say about it.
Me neither. So
Yes.
let's leave it there.
Hey, if you guys have a different take on it, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, we would. So yeah, feel free to connect with us on our social media pages. And with that, we'll see you next week with another episode. Goodbye. God bless.
Goodbye. God bless, and tell your friends.